one of the big things that Ian and I wanted to do was to bring you really interesting brands, and as we promised, sort of fresh content and new brands that are thinking about loyalty in interesting and different ways. When I first approached the wonderful Elliot Warman, who's over here, Red Bull wasn't perhaps quite as topical as it has been in the past few months. So as well as a really interesting brand doing really, really cool things, hopefully it's a really brilliant brand in its own right and such an interesting story and such an interesting proposition. So this is Elliot Warman of Red Bull Racing.
Nice to meet you. Hi, everyone.
And as Elliot says, he knows a lot about Formula One and a lot about Red Bull, but for him, this world of loyalty is kind of a new thing as well. So feel free to ask him lots of questions about Formula One and how they are using loyalty in this exciting world of sports. Now, Elliot's going to speak for about 15, 20 minutes, and then we're going to do a fireside chat for about 5 or 10 minutes. So if you have a question, sort of flag to me at the end, and then I'll make sure that we ask those questions. And then Elliot's with us for the 2 days as well, so you can follow up. So without further ado, over to you.
Cool. Thanks, Charlie. So that's a big introduction. So yeah, as Charlie mentioned, my name's Elliot Warman. I work at Oracle Red Bull Racing, and I manage the Paddock, which is our digital loyalty program. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you about today. In terms of the topic, it's a little bit of a mouthful, so I'm going to simplify it down a little bit to say that in an industry where fans are already really, really passionate, how are we using loyalty marketing to build fan engagement and drive value? In terms of the structure and what I'm going to cover, I'm going to give a quick introduction to myself and how I ended up at Red Bull. I'm going to give an overview of the Paddock, which is our loyalty program, our aims, what we're trying to achieve, a bit about our audience, before talking about 3 specific campaigns and features that we've introduced to build fan engagement. So, a little bit about me. I'll keep this brief. So I've been at Red Bull for about 2 years now. But my background is kind of a little bit random. I came from finance, so I worked at HSBC for 5 years before I actually joined Red Bull. I'd been at HSBC for about 5 years, and I found that the pace of work was a little bit too slow. So the obvious step for me was to apply for a Formula One team. I saw a role within the Web3 department, so I kind of played on the fact that I would know my way around cryptocurrency, which was a little bit of a lie, but managed to get myself the job, and 2 years later, I'm in a job that I'm really, really passionate about, managing a loyalty program with hundreds of thousands of members. So, the loyalty program itself, you might have heard about it before. If not, it's called the Paddock. So, the concept of the Paddock is really, really simple, and it's completely free for our fans to join. I'm going to give an overview of what it gives to fans, what we get in return, and yeah, some of the features and campaigns that we've run through it. So yeah, as I said, really, really simple, points-based system. So fans can earn points by completing activities that they're already doing as a fan. So that could be reading articles, watching content, predicting race results, and so on. The points can then be redeemed for some incredible money-can't-buy rewards and experiences, whether that's digital, physical, or event-based. And the more fans engage, the quicker they progress through the different membership tiers until they eventually hit the top VIP tier, where you get the best access to the rewards. But whilst the concept of the Paddock is really, really simple, it's home to our most complex campaigns and competitions and different features. And that's because we're powered by Oracle's Crowd2Us technology, and then in combination with our software engineering team, we're able to develop really niche, complex user journeys that allows for more touch points than we might have across our, let's say, social media channels. And yeah, it's a really amazing program. In terms of what we get in return, fundamentally we get data on our fans, which means we're more attractive to partnerships, which is obviously important. I'm sure you've seen in Formula One how many partners are kind of plastered all over the car. But equally, we get to personalize the experience for fans as well. So if we know someone's based in, let's say, Mexico, we're able to present content or rewards that's specific to them. In terms of some of the rewards we give out, I mean, these are kind of just some of the physical ones we've done. And I actually brought one with me today, so if you see me walking around with a piece of wood, that's why. So this we gave out about 1.5 years ago, which was Sergio Perez, one of our drivers. We got him to basically do donuts on a huge piece of wood and plywood, and had painted his tires. So I think it was red, yellow, blue. We had this huge piece of painted wood as a result of him doing donuts. we cut that up, got him to sign it and send that out to fans, which they absolutely loved. We had a piece of, or I say piece of, some engine oil extracted from his car from the winning RB18 from the Singaporean Grand Prix in 2022, which we put in a glass box, I'd say, and gave that out to fans, which fans absolutely loved again. And at the end of last year, we gave out the pit board that we held up at the end of every race win that we got Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez to sign, and we gave that out to one lucky fan. So I've spoken a little bit about the paddock and what it is. I'm going to talk quickly about our audience, because it can be a little bit daunting when we look at the actual size of the potential audience we're looking at within Formula One. So last year, there was an estimated 700 million fans of Formula One, so a huge, huge global audience. Each race had around 70 million viewers, which again is a pretty huge stat, given I saw a stat that the Masters, I think, recently for golf had just had about 12 million viewers in total, so we're getting 5-6 times that amount each race, and there's 24 races in the calendar. Oracle Rebel Racing, we have over 30 million followers across our different social media accounts, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. And the loyalty program, the Paddock, we have well over 500,000 members, so it's growing and it's huge. And this shows where those members are actually distributed globally, so it is truly a global platform. As you can see, the main markets for us are the United States, United Kingdom, Mexico, Netherlands, because they're our kind of home markets or driver markets. But it is a truly global program, and there's very few countries in the world that we basically haven't touched. And the point I'm trying to make is that whilst the audience for Formula One is huge, and it is global, and it can be a little bit, I guess you can focus your attention on acquisition, database growth, and just kind of solely look at that. I want to talk about one of our members from the United States called Harrison and tell a story about Harrison. So last year in October, we threw an event to launch one of our fan-designed car liveries. To get access to the event, you had to be a member of the Paddock, and we ended up having around 400 of our members join us. Now, it was being hosted at Oracle's headquarters, and Oracle's our title partner, so we wanted to make the event as good as possible. So we had things like music, food truck, bar, partner giveaways, sim racing rigs. We even had Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, and Christian Horner all talking at the event, which our fans absolutely loved. But being Red Bull, we couldn't just kind of have one fan zone event. We had to like go even bigger. So to actually reveal the winning car design that a fan had designed, we ended up flying it through downtown Austin by helicopter. Yeah, it was a pretty crazy thing to see. And even though I knew it was happening and knew it was coming, all I could think about was don't drop the car, because I knew how much the insurance was going to cost us if that happened. But the event was amazing for me to go to. There was 300-400 members of our loyalty program there, so I was able to chat to them individually and get their feedback and interact with them about how the program was going. I even spoke to one family whose young son was there, and they told me that he was a massive, massive fan of Sergio Perez. So later on, I pulled a few strings, and we got them to meet Checo and get a photo with the car, which was pretty cute. But the reason I'm talking about this is the thing that topped the event off was, for me, this email I'd received a few days later. And this was an email in from our member called Harrison from the United States, and this was completely unprompted. So he'd emailed in saying that he'd been struggling economically and mentally, and that he was really, really thankful for the event and just basically happy to attend. So I decided to put a little bit of time in with Harrison to chat to him and understand about basically his situation and why he emailed this in. So he joined the Zoom call, and he was wearing a full Red Bull Racing outfit with a cap and everything, which was a nice touch. But he basically said that since COVID, he'd been in and out of jobs, and he was unemployed at the time. So his passion is Formula One and motorsports, and he was unable to actually attend the race that year. His partner's father as well had been undergoing chemotherapy, so it was a really, really tough time for them. And what I gleaned from it was he was just so thankful for us to throw this event and allowing him to attend and experience Formula One when he wasn't able to do it in person that year. And For me, even though it's managing a huge loyalty program, it was the story from Harrison and like a reminder that it was the individual stories and connections with fans that drives a lot of what we do as a team. Instead of looking at the huge 700 million global audience of Formula One, it's the individual stories that's important. And that drives one of our central key missions as a fan engagement team within Formula One, and that is bringing F1 for the 90%. So we know, and I think it's a stat, something like 99% of Formula One fans will never be able to attend a race or be there in person. So we want to bring the Formula One experience to those people so that they can basically build a sense of loyalty with our team and become long-term fans. So some of our more specific aims, I'm going to talk about 3 of them quickly. So as a loyalty program, we are fundamentally trying to drive fan engagement, and we sit within the fan engagement team, and that's to bring basically long-term fans into the ecosystem and have them there for life. Speaking candidly as well, we want to drive acquisition. So the bigger our database size, the more partnerships want to come in and basically pay us money to be a partner of the team. And the more money comes through the door, the more successful we'll be as a team. And finally, the loyalty program, the Paddock, we want to promote an existing partnership, which is with Oracle. So Oracle provides CrowdTwist, which is the technology that powers the Paddock. And if we can demonstrate how successful the technology is at creating a great program, the better the partnership will be. And yeah, they're paying us a fair amount, a lot of money each year, so that's an important goal for us. Okay, so I've spoken about the program, our audience, some of our aims. I'm now going to talk about the 3 individual campaigns and features that we've introduced that build fan engagement and drive value. And the first one is our fan-designed car competition. So at the start of last year, we had an amazing idea to launch the first of these competitions, which was called Make Your Mark. And that was giving fans the chance to design our car for 3 of the biggest races of the season, which was going to be Miami, Austin, and Las Vegas, really focusing on the United States markets. Now, in typical kind of Formula One fashion, we had about 2 months to design, build, and launch this fan design competition, where we were getting fans to literally design half the car. And it might sound a little bit melodramatic and cliche, but we approached this with the goal of basically driving sign-ups. We ended up changing the lives of 3 individuals, and I'll explain why that is. So the competition itself and how it worked, fans would go to the Paddock, sign up, and they were able to download a design template here. So I would have been awful at doing this because I was terrible at art, but fans were able to, in that rectangular box, create their design for the side of the car. They were then able to upload that and visualize it on a 3D rotating model of the car before submitting it. Now, the ultimate prize of each of these competitions was to win a trip for themselves and a +1 to go to the respective Grand Prix, completely free of charge as a guest of our team. So it's a pretty huge prize. Again, kind of money can't buy because you can't really get that access anywhere else. So there was a lot of great designs that we saw, and I'll show you some of them behind me now. But fundamentally, the best designs we saw were the ones that fans had gone in. They'd done countless numbers of iterations. That one, they had like dolphins down the side of it for Miami. But yeah, fundamentally, lots of fans put a lot of effort into this because they saw the reward and really wanted to go for it. And I personally had to review thousands of these designs. And some of them, as you can see, were genuinely like amazingly done. But some of them were, I'd say, slightly more comedic. One fan decided to put a design of Daniel Ricciardo's face, who was our reserve driver at the time last year. So that gave us a huge laugh when we saw that. It was funny to keep the spirits going when we were just reviewing them constantly. But I don't think that was the funniest one. The funniest one we saw was the fan who decided to submit a design that had Toto Wolff's face on it. And for those of you who aren't aware, Toto Wolff is the team principal of the Mercedes Formula One team, kind of our biggest rival. So for obvious reasons, neither of these could win. And I actually really wanted to put these on our social media channels, but we weren't technically allowed to. So you guys are the only people who have actually seen these designs ever. What's next? Cool. So in addition to the fans designing the cars within the paddock, we also gave them the ultimate choice in voting on each of the winning designs for each of the races. So through the paddock, we uploaded the best designs we saw, and fans were able to go in and select their vote for the best ones. Now, this was a huge, huge drive from us from a fan engagement perspective, because it's a decision that is genuinely really, really important for the team. I didn't realize it, but when we chatted to our paint shop team, it's things like different colors will affect the weights of the car. So a red might be lighter than a blue. And when you're talking about 0.1 kilo, that affects a car by around a tenth of a second. Those margins in Formula One are huge. So these are kind of decisions that are genuinely really important to us as a team. So giving fans the chance to vote on the winning livery each time through the paddock, we were getting tens of thousands of votes, and they absolutely loved it. Cool. And then for each of the car designs, we had a livery reveal event. And to win or to get access to this, again, you had to be a member of the paddock to attend. We started off a little bit slower, I'd say, in Miami, where we had a museum with the best designs around the room, kind of like the ones you saw earlier. For Austin, we went a little bit bigger, flew it through Austin by helicopter to that event I showed you. And then for Las Vegas, we basically not hired out, but we took over a nightclub called Omnia in the week run-up to Las Vegas. We attached the car to the ceiling and then lowered it down at midnight to coincide with the beat drop and the flares going off for everything. So yeah, that was an amazing thing to see, and kind of how we try and Red Bull our campaigns. Now, the campaign was unbelievably successful. We had social media interactions were off the scale. Fans were commenting how engaged they were by it, and they brought close to the team. But for me, the best thing about running this whole campaign was getting to talk to the 3 winners when they were selected and chosen, and telling them that they'd actually won the competition. Because for them, it was going to be a huge, huge moment. So for the first call with the girl from Miami, when I spoke to her, I was genuinely more nervous than she was when I had the news to tell her. But for Austin and for Las Vegas, I'd calmed down a little bit. And I have a recording of the moment I actually got to tell them, which was a really nice touch.
Has been selected as the winner of the competition itself.
Oh, sure. Wow. Oh man, thank you. Thank you
the dog in the background.
I was taking the reward for that.
Oh my God, I'm trying really hard not to swear with excitement. I told you it was going to be that. No, I told you it was
That's
going to be
not
that.
my voice, that's her boyfriend's. So for that call, I had no idea that he was there the whole time videoing her. So that was the first time that I'd seen him come in, and his high-pitched voice made me laugh there. But yeah, it was an incredible chance to tell them that they'd won this competition. And as I said, when I said we changed the lives of the individuals, that was a genuine, true comment. They were getting job offers from different design companies when they were with us at the garage. They were getting national TV interviews, both from Argentina and the UK. And Lindsay there, she got a letter from her local member of parliament congratulating her that she'd won the competition, which was really cool. So yeah, it was an amazing campaign, something we did to drive fan engagement, and it was all hosted through our loyalty program. And this year we're doing it again, and it's going to be called Rebel Customs. Now we launched this last week, so it's currently live if you were to sign up to the paddock, and again, a chance to win a trip to the Grand Prix. We realized that for Make Your Mark, it was very designer focused. So if you couldn't use Photoshop or whatever, it would be difficult for you to win. But for Rebel Customs, we've made it way more accessible. And again, we had about 2 months to design and deliver this, so it was pretty impressive that we got it out the door. But this is what the interface looks like. And this is live, as I said, in the paddock right now for the next week or 2. So fans can go in and they can select between different car parts of the car. They can then select different colors for it, although I wouldn't recommend choosing a Ferrari red because that probably won't win it. They can then select different patterns, different blending modes for those patterns to create different styles of the car, before then applying race-specific stickers. So the first race we're doing it for is for Silverstone in Britain. So yeah, you can then apply those race-specific stickers. So yeah, again, a huge way of driving fan engagement, and if you fancy trying to win a trip to the race, make sure to submit your design in the next week or 2. Cool. So the second thing I'm going to talk about is how we've looked to build a sense of community in the Paddock, and that's through our Discord server. So for those of you who aren't aware or heard of Discord, it's a social media platform that allows live chat messaging between different users. We encountered a challenge at the start of last year with the Paddock, which was we were having a lot of our members hitting the top VIP tier, and we didn't have a scalable reward to give them that wouldn't cost us a fortune. So what we did, created an exclusive Discord channel for our top VIP members that you could only get access to once you hit that level of membership. And it was a huge, huge benefit for our users because it's given them a forum to speak to each other about the Formula One and the Paddock. But it's also been a massive benefit for us, and we didn't kind of expect this, but it's given us a membership base of over 1,000 people in that channel who will give us live feedback whenever we put something live, if there's any bugs or issues with it, which, to be honest, there often is because we're a small team. And they also have a direct line into the team, which they love, so they're able to speak to me as a member of Rebel Racing. And over the past year, it's been so successful that I've even managed to get myself a little bit of a following who have started creating these stickers about me, which is slightly strange. And at one point, I think I'm going to be a bit worried they're going to find out where I live. But the third and final thing I'm going to talk about is gamification. So at Rebel Racing, we're trying to constantly find new ways of creating hooks that will keep our fans coming back for more, because that's one of our challenges we face is getting sign-ups but not engaging and retaining them. So at the start of last year, we asked fans what games they wanted to see, and one of the things that they asked for is a predictor game. So we decided to develop that, and it's a really, really simple premise of a game. Fans go into the Paddock, and they can select how and predict how Max and Sergio Perez are going to do over the course of the race weekend. By doing this, they'll then get points for correct predictions. There you can top the leaderboards, win prizes, and this year we're even going to bring in the grand prize of winning a trip to the Las Vegas Grand Prix just by predicting some of the race results. So yeah, huge prizes involved for fans, which they love, and we get we get thousands and thousands of entries each race weekend. The thing that's made this a little bit challenging is that since introducing it at the start of last year, I think we've won 26 out of 28 races, so it's not the hardest thing to predict, but there are things like fastest lap numbers which make it pretty challenging. But cool, I'm not sure how long I've been talking, but it feels like a while, so I'm going to bring it to a close by saying I'm in a great position in my role to set the strategy and vision for a loyalty program that deepens our relationship as a team with hundreds of thousands of members across the globe. We do that by, as I've shown, some pretty incredible digital campaigns and features with corresponding in real life activations that really try and build a sense of loyalty with our members and try and bring them in to the ecosystem as long-term fans. I think one of the best things about my job is the individual connections, as I mentioned, like, for example, Harrison from the United States, and those stories that we connect with the fans as well. But I think the best thing about it is being able to travel with the team and getting to experience some of the races and events and Grand Prix all around the world. So yeah, thank you for listening, if this works. Shameless plug, but make sure to sign up to the Paddock, help our acquisition, and yeah, feel free to say hello over the next day or two. Thanks.
Come grab a seat. It's quite a cool case study. Who else has, since they've worked in loyalty, managed to fly a car through Austin designed by a fan? It's pretty amazing. Does anyone from the audience have any questions? I have got a couple to ask Elliot, but I wondered if anyone had anything they wanted to know. James? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Has everyone heard that? James was asking about Drive to Survive. I'm not sure if you can hear at the back, and if that's had an interesting impact and if that's brought lots of members in.
It certainly has. To be honest, I wasn't a huge Formula One fan before I got this job. So Drive to Survive was how I upskilled myself when I went to interview. But we've seen that, yeah, it's been a huge uptick in terms of audiences. It has kind of like slowed down a little bit in terms of audience coming in because of Drive to Survive. I think potentially as the racing has gotten a little bit more predictable. But for us, yeah, I mean, we're amazing at the acquisition element. things like winning the chance to attend these events we throw, fans just want to get involved with that. And we promote those competitions on social media a lot, paid media as well. But the difficulty is, as you said, kind of getting them engaged once they're already in that ecosystem. And it's something we're definitely challenged by. So it's things like the predictor game that we try and basically bring a reason to keep coming back. And by introducing, let's say, a grand prize of that, of winning a trip to the Las Vegas Grand Prix, people are going to want to keep playing it every week. So we're kind of conscious that a lot of the things we do is obviously focused towards Formula One fans. And yeah, try and basically introduce features to cater for that as well.
Great. Nikki, did you have a question too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. So it's completely free for fans to join. And yeah, we're not planning on introducing like a subscription-based model. That's because Red Bull, our parent company, basically don't want us to do that. I think it's not really what we try and achieve as a team to charge the fans. The actual program is pretty much it's funded by sponsorship money. So Oracle is our title partner. I don't know exactly how much they pay, but I'm sure it's Googleable, but it's certainly in the tens of millions a year. But as part of that, we then get pots of money basically to then spend on different activations. And because the Paddock is powered by CrowdTwist, which is Oracle's loyalty platform, we have a pot of money to spend on things like the activations, on things like web development, getting UX designers to come in and design like new features and journeys. But yeah, it's always the case that at the start of the year, we go out and spend a lot of money, and then at the end, we're kind of penny saving to try and
I don't
deliver.
think you're alone in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just that perhaps there's a few more zeros in some of the sponsorship budgets than you see than some of the other brands in the room. Any other questions coming in, or I'll ask one more. Oh, Rick.
You mentioned that you have a very heavy top tier. So your top tier of the program is with about 1,000, you mentioned, I believe. Mm-hmm. How do you keep the relevant benefits for those top tiers scalable with these numbers?
That's probably the biggest challenge we face. Because as I mentioned at the start of last year, when we had that challenge of how are we going to reward the top tier members, I was like, okay, yeah, this Discord channel is going to be the way we do it. And it has been for a year a solution, but we're now in the kind of thousands of members at the top tier, over 1,000 people in the Discord. That now feels less novel and less of kind of an amazing benefit. So it's kind of my challenge now is what are we going to do instead of that? And we do tend to give out a lot of merchandise, so we have like jackets, tops, polos, whatever, mini helmets that are signed, but they're expensive. And we don't have an endless pit of money to give out these things to thousands of people. So it's this year, the way I've tried to approach it is, okay, we know we can't give something to everyone. So we brought in a new feature this year, which is like a race to rewards. So regardless of what level of membership you are, the first people to hit certain point tiers in this year, they all get guaranteed prizes and rewards and merchandise. But again, that's in the kind of 1,000 or 2,000 people. It's not the hundreds of thousands. So I haven't probably got the perfect solution for that, and it's one of the things we're trying to find out.
Well, you're sitting in a room of people who might have some ideas. So if any of you have got any good experience of kind of that sort of reward in the top tier, please share it with Elliot, because that would be helpful. And then we'll do one last question out the corner of my eye. Ian, I feel like you're cheating as chair.
No.
Are you allowed
I'm
to
just
ask
saying,
questions?
if Elliot adds it to the QR code, we can cover it in the loyalty thing. I've got a great answer, by the way.
Looking forward to hearing it.
Well, I'm looking forward to raising that this afternoon.
Brilliant. We'll look at that in the loyalty repair shop at the end of the day. Brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much. Such a great case study and such a brilliant presentation. Really appreciate it. And Elliot is around for the next couple of days, so do please share ideas and ask him loads of questions.
Cool. Thank you.